I'm with Farbod Shoraka of Bloom Nation. He came all the way from California to see little old me so he could do an interview because a lot of people are confused about what Bloom Nation is and what they do and why are they different than everybody else who does similar things. And we've done a lot of discussion online about this, and he was happy, to come over and kind enough to come over and visit with me. So, as I told you, I asked my audience,
Yep.
give me some questions for Bloom Nation, and I got some. And let's just go through them, and I'll just give you a little heads up here. So one of the questions was, what's the minimum requirement for a florist that's in your network? Is it?
Yeah, for us it's more about them being an official business. So you have to have a business license, a tax license, seller's permit. They have to have their own photographs. We don't allow any stock photography. As far as do they have to be brick and mortar versus like a studio florist, we allow both.
Okay.
We don't allow anyone just working out of their home that doesn't have any experience doing flowers that's just going to start using stock photography or anything like that. But we do want florists that don't have necessarily a retail shop and maybe work out of a studio, especially in bigger cities like Los Angeles and New York.
Studio would be more practical.
Yeah, it's more practical, and a lot of them, do a lot of event stuff as well. So in that scenario, we allow the studio florists to be part of our platform.
I probably should back up a little bit and just, I'm not quite sure if all the audience would know who what is and what Bloom Nation is. Essentially Bloom Nation is, I won't call it a wire service by any means. I'll call it a, what would you call it?
Marketplace.
A marketplace for retail, well, it's a marketplace for consumers to send flowers around the country.
Yep.
Is that?
Yeah.
All right. And therefore you're competing with FTD and Teleflora and 100 or 500 other order gatherers.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. Our goal is to put those guys out of business by creating a new platform where consumers can discover local florists.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, as we know, and maybe we don't know, the people in my industry or our industry know that the wire services use retailers as well. They have a network of retailers they use to send flowers. So if you want to send grandma flowers, you might call FTD or Bloom Nation or Teleflora and tell them you want to be in, you want grandma to get some flowers. And I think what's different here, which Fawad is going to tell us why they're different, because that's the next question is, how are you different than the other guys?
Yeah, so for us it's more about being a marketplace where the florist can be discovered by the consumers versus the other wire services creating a brand in which they gather the order and then sell it off to the local florist, where there's no customer retention, there's no transparency. That's the biggest problem with the industry right now, is that these order gatherers and wire services are literally buying and selling orders to the local florist without any profitability or customer retention. So we're taking all those negative pieces away, and the one thing we're keeping that wire services do a great job at is convenience, and that's why people still use them. They love the convenience of just having to go to one site, place their order, and then they don't have to worry about it. Now, it doesn't always turn out great experience at the end when the product's delivered, but the point is initially the convenience factor gets them sucked into the process. So we've created Bloom Nation to be just as convenient as a wire service, but still give the florist that local touch and that local connection to their customer. So the difference is we don't send you orders, we give you customers, and they're buying directly from you. We're just the technology that allows it to happen conveniently, which is what consumer behavior asks for.
Sure, and consumers for the most part, because it generally is a gift item, for the most part, I'm going to tell you to send grandma flowers, but I don't see the flowers you sent them. I saw a picture perhaps of what you were supposed to send them or what I paid for. What grandma actually gets is a different story.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the big problem in the industry, is that there's just so much disconnect between the consumer and the florist. And the other services have done a great job of making this huge wall where there's no communication going on. So what we've done is torn that wall down, we've made it completely transparent and just connected the two as seamlessly as possible, with just using our technology to make it easy for both the florist and the customer.
Yeah, because I believe that most of the order gatherers, not the FTDs and Telefloras, but the order gatherers, which is just somebody who put up a clever website and got good CEO, and suddenly they get customers. And I believe they're actually using FTD and Teleflora in many cases to actually fulfill the order.
Yep, yeah.
All right, so then they're taking a little profit, FTD takes its profit, and the poor retailer that has to, deliver what was $100 order with $20 worth of flowers.
Exactly.
Or to left to work with.
Yeah.
And what percent in your case? So if I'm a florist and I'm using your system, and you send me a customer, what do you get out of it? Where's your profit in this?
Sure. So we're similar to like other marketplaces like eBay, Etsy, Amazon, where we don't take any monthly fees. There's no sign up or contracts or any junk fees. It's a simple payout structure of 90%. So there's no way on our platform to get charged more or less than 90%. It's always a 90%.
So you're keeping 10%. 90% goes to the florist.
Yeah. So we use the 10% to pay the credit card fees. We cover all the credit card costs, and then obviously bring more marketing into the marketplace. So we reuse that. At this point, we're reusing that money to reinvesting it back into the marketplace, and it's a flat 90% payout. And we also pay the same day as the delivery. So we don't have monthly invoicing, because cash flow is a huge problem for florists.
Sure.
Right? Like you're buying, especially during the holiday peak seasons, you're buying a ton of flowers and you're not getting the check at the end of the month. It kind of puts a strain on you. So we've also eliminated that problem and said the day that you deliver the items, you get money right into your bank account, the 90%. So we've done a lot of thinking of how we can make the industry right and work best for the florist and the customer.
And you think you're going to maintain that 10%? That sounds, because you have investors, I believe.
Yeah, we do.
You got to satisfy investors, of course.
Yeah, right. So it's a complicated situation. We try to be as efficient as possible, and through scale, we've seen other marketplaces maintain that magical 10% number. I mean, eBay hovers around 10%, Etsy hovers around there, Amazon. But it has to take the support of all the florists coming together so that we can afford to do it as cheaply as possible. So with the support of the florists, we can maintain the 10%. That being said, I can't predict the future, and I can't guarantee it. The same way, like I can't walk into a flower shop and say, how much will your roses cost in 10 years? So we try to be open and honest. The point is we're going to be very transparent with our florists and customers, and just always be open communication.
So you're going out and physically finding florists, right?
Yeah.
And are you knocking on their doors and talking to them, or are you doing all this online? Or?
So originally we walked around Los Angeles and met with a ton of florists and got the idea.
Los Angeles,
yeah, right? Strongest presence in California. From there, we opened up the marketplace for people to join across the country, and we've had thousands of people join across the country without taking any outbound sales effort. And now that we've received some venture capital financing, we've had the luxury of being able to kind of do more proactive sales effort to get the word out. And we've been on several daytime shows and television shows trying to get the word out, not only to the florist, but educating the consumer about shopping local and how these other services are really just buying and selling orders. So it's all about education for us, and just keeping the consumer and the florist educated on, the industry and how it works.
On Flowers and Scents, what we find is that what I hear back from the florist anyway is that for the most part, it's a love-hate relationship. In fact, it's more hate than I think love.
Yeah.
They don't really like the wire services. Now, there's some that have been very successful, and maybe because they get wine and dined by FTD and such.
Sure.
But for the most part, florists have been dropping them based on the site. They're dropping them left and right because they feel that they're not getting any value out of it.
Sure.
And they're just being sucked slowly, sucked dry. And so this is refreshing because you're finding the florist, and you're dealing with a very limited amount of florists, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, he had the ability or the pleasure of perhaps being on a daytime talk show, or not a talk show.
Morning show. Yeah.
Yeah, here in Florida. And you mentioned that you had thousands of florists signed up. I took the time to at least go through your site, and I found 348 that you've listed as far as shops, I guess.
Sure. On the website itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't list every single flower shop, because then for competitive reasons, like we don't want just a whole list of our florists, but there are some that are listed through our site just for SEO purposes to help them boost their
So I don't necessarily, am I picking the florist, or are you picking the florist?
No, so everything you see is listed, so the florist will list their own designs for sale. That's another misconception. So a lot of florists they think that we're still routing orders to different florists, which is not true. It's similar to eBay, where the florist lists a unique product, and if someone's purchasing that product, it can only be sold and fulfilled by that particular florist. So we don't route orders or put up a stock image and then say buy that one and then say, okay, this florist will do it for you. Every florist puts their unique products, and only they sell that product that they.
That is a nice option, I guess, or a nice feature that the florist is making the design, sending you the picture, and saying, okay, this is what I can deliver for $100 or something.
Exactly. So then you have our goal is to like recreate the concept of walking into a flower shop, right? When you walk into a flower shop, you meet the owner, you see the designer, you see all the products that are available there. We're doing the same thing online. We're taking a photo of the owner. We have their, the address, their shop picture, all the designs that they've taken and listed for sale. So it's kind of giving that same feeling as if you're walking into their shop, but just online. And
well, back to the so of the 248 that they're listed, the people that aren't listed, how would I know to see their arrangement?
So when you go on the site, the main thing that to find florists is to put in a search of the delivery area. So yeah,
and it would give a more comprehensive the one.
Yeah, so the list on the bottom of the site is
right.
just that's not the whole list of florists.
Okay.
But the main way to find, and the goal is to find the florist that's relevant to your search. So you would type in Los Angeles, or you would type in Miami,
then get the full
and then you would see
list.
all the list of florists and their designs that are available for delivery in that particular area. So we only show you relevant information. If you're looking in LA for a gift, or Miami, or Chicago, you see what's available locally in that area directly from the florist.